The first round of the 2023 NHL Draft is in the books. Overall, a pretty uneventful day on the trade front, but the first round of the draft itself was still pretty exciting. There was definitely a good amount of surprises in terms of where prospects were drafted. In this video, we're going to review the first day of the 2023 NHL Draft. I'm going to talk about a couple of trades that happened earlier today, not at the draft itself, but on draft day. And then after we break down those trades, we will of course look at the results of the first round itself. I probably won't spend too much time on that just because I'll admit I'm not a draft expert. I feel like I have decent knowledge of a lot of the prospects that went in the top 15 or were supposed to go in that range, but towards the end of the first round, it definitely does get a little bit murky for me, but we will still look at the results. But before we do that, I want to give you guys my thoughts on the trades that happened earlier today. The first being the Tampa Bay Lightning sending forward Ross Colton, who is currently a restricted free agent, to the Colorado Avalanche in exchange for the 37th overall pick in this year's draft, which is one of the picks that the Avs acquired from the Montreal Canadiens as part of the Newhook deal. I really like this trade for Colorado, especially when you look at it in the sense that the Avalanche acquired Ross Colton and a first-round pick for Newhook. Ross Colton is a guy who knows what it takes to win at just 26 years old. He's already a two-time Stanley Cup champion. He's somebody who plays with a very high motor, great forechecker, plays with some bite, and provides a good bit of depth scoring in the middle six as well. This is a guy who's capable of getting you 20 goals in a season. He wreaks havoc below the opposing team's goal line, creates a lot of chances down low. I really like Ross Colton's game. I think he's a fantastic addition for Colorado, again, especially considering they turned Newhook into Colton and a first. And when it comes to the Tampa Bay side of things in this trade, this was really nothing more than a cap casualty for them. I'm sure Tampa Bay would have loved to keep Ross Colton, but like I mentioned, Ross Colton is a restricted free agent in need of a new deal. His cap hit this past season was just a little over $1.1 million. He's due for a raise, and given Tampa Bay's current cap situation, that's just something they couldn't afford to do. Moving along now to the other trade that took place today, yet another cap casualty. This one saw the Vegas Golden Knights sending forward Riley Smith to the Pittsburgh Penguins in exchange for a 2024 third-round draft pick. Riley Smith has 2 years left on his contract at a cap hit of $5 million. Shortly after this move, it was announced that the Vegas Golden Knights signed Ivan Barbashev to an extension, 5 years, $5 million per, so the cap space that they got by making this Riley Smith trade enabled them to sign Barbashev to that deal. Riley Smith was definitely a fan favorite in Vegas. He was there right from the start, so I'm sure a lot of Vegas fans are going to be sad to see him go, but it's a trade that really should surprise nobody. As we've seen from Vegas throughout their existence, they're not afraid to move on from big name players that are fan favorites to free up some cap space. Just ask Max Pacioretty and Marc-Andre Fleury. So nothing more than a pure cap dump for the Vegas Golden Knights. For the Pittsburgh Penguins, this is the first trade made by Kyle Dubas as Penguins general manager, and I think it's a solid deal for the Penguins. You take advantage of a cap-strapped team like the Vegas Golden Knights, and you get a legit top six forward for pretty much pennies on the dollar. And it's not like it's one of those cap dump trades where you're taking on a legit bad contract. Riley Smith is a good player. I think $5 million per season for Riley Smith is more than fair. This is a guy who's consistently scored at around a 50-point pace for the majority of his career. He's got 5 20-plus goal seasons under his belt. He's coming off of a 26-goal, 56-point season in 78 games. I really think Riley Smith fills out the Pittsburgh Penguins top six nicely, joining the likes of Rickard Rakell, Brian Rust, Jake Gensel, and of course Crosby and Malkin. So that does it for the trades that happened today. Like I said, really uneventful day on the trade front. We didn't even get a single trade during the first round, not even a team moving up or moving down, nothing like that. So here are the full results for the first round of the 2023 NHL Draft. As we all expected, as we all knew, Connor Bedard is indeed taken first overall by the Chicago Blackhawks, but it didn't take long at all for us to get our first surprise of the draft as the Anaheim Ducks elected to go with Leo Carlsson out of the Swedish Hockey League over Adam Fantilli, who has been projected to go number 2 behind Connor Bedard pretty much all year long. Now, that's not to say Anaheim made a bad choice here. It sounds like they really like the player. Leo Carlsson is a hell of a prospect, but definitely a little bit surprising. The Columbus Blue Jackets would then select Adam Fantilli third overall. They have to be ecstatic with that pick, in my opinion. Adam Fantilli is exactly the kind of player that the Columbus Blue Jackets needed. Fourth overall saw the San Jose Sharks select centerman Will Smith out of the U.S. National Development Program. So the first 4 picks of the drafts, all centermen. Montreal decides to change things up fifth overall, selecting the first defenseman, Austrian David Reinbacher. Pretty funny moment on the broadcast as Carey Price was announcing this pick. He got David out, but either forgot his last name or couldn't pronounce it, kind of just blanked, which will probably be a meme for quite a while. Sixth overall, the Arizona Coyotes went a little bit off the board here. This was definitely one of the more surprising picks of the top 10, probably the most surprising of the top 10. They decided to select left shot defenseman Dmitry Simashev out of Russia. A lot of analysts didn't even have Simichev going in the first round, so this was a bit of a shocker when Arizona announced that pick. 7th overall, Matvei Michkov finally went. The team to take him was the Philadelphia Flyers. Danny Briere said that he was really impressed with Matvei Michkov in the interviews that they had with him. He said that Matvei Michkov kept saying he wanted to be a Flyer, so it seems like a good fit there. Obviously, the Flyers are going to have to be patient and wait for Matvei Michkov to come over. It's likely going to take years, but when he does come over, I think he's going to be well worth the wait. With the 8th overall draft pick, the Capitals decided to go with Ryan Leonard out of the U.S. National Development Team. Played on a line with Will Smith for the majority of the season. Those two tore it up together. On the broadcast, they were really hyping up Ryan Leonard's complete game and how he was sort of the glue guy on that line, the one to go to the dirty areas, the one that was always back checking the hardest, that kind of thing. A player that does whatever it takes to win, somebody who certainly projects to be a really good pro. With the 9th overall pick, the Red Wings selected centerman Nate Danielson out of the WHL, which came as a little bit of a surprise. The Red Wings obviously have a history of using their high draft picks on European prospects. Steve Yzerman was interviewed after making the pick, and he brought up how the center ice position is definitely a position of need for the Red Wings, and they certainly got a little bit deeper at center over the past two drafts, now getting Danielson and getting Marco Kasper last year. On the broadcast, Danielson was advertised as a safe draft pick, not somebody who projects to be, a top line game-breaking center, but somebody who has a complete game, projects to be a middle of the lineup guy. 10th overall, with the first of their 3 first-round draft picks, the St. Louis Blues elected to go with centerman Dalibor Dvorsky, who played 38 games this past season with AIK of the Swedish League, had 14 points, also had a decent showing with Slovakia in the World Juniors. 11th overall, the Vancouver Canucks selected right shot defenseman Tom Willander. 12th overall, with the second of their 2 first-round draft picks, the Arizona Coyotes selected Russian winger Daniel Boot. So the Coyotes take Russians with both of their first-round draft picks, 1 winger, 1 defenseman. Daniel Boot is huge. He's 6'5". Another pick by the Coyotes that was viewed as a little bit of a reach, as most analysts didn't really have Daniel Boot going in the top 15, but it's a player that the Coyotes obviously liked. 13th overall, I think this is a really good pick by the Buffalo Sabres. They selected Zach Benson out of the WHL. Had a fantastic season with the Winnipeg Ice, 98 points in 60 games. Somebody that the guys on the panel were raving about. Has a really high motor, high compete guy. Obviously tons of skill, a little undersized. That's probably why he didn't go in the top 10 if we're being honest, but definitely a fantastic prospect, and I'm sure Buffalo was really happy to see him fall to them at 13. The Penguins would select centerman Brandon Yeager out of the WHL. He spent this past season with the Moose Jaw Warriors. 15th overall, the host Nashville Predators would select winger Matthew Wood, who apparently is really good friends with Connor Bedard. Played this past season at the University of Connecticut, and as a freshman actually led the team in scoring with 34 points in 35 games. 16th overall, the Calgary Flames selected winger Samuel Honzik out of the WHL. He spent this past season with Vancouver. 17th overall, the Red Wings' second pick of the first round, they elected to go with right shot defenseman Axel Sandin Pellikka, Swedish defenseman, so pretty on brand for the Red Wings and their scouting staff, and it does fill another organizational need, especially after trading away Filip Hronek. The Red Wings are pretty thin on the right side. With the 18th overall draft pick, the Winnipeg Jets selected winger Colby Barlow, who is the captain of the Owen Sound Attack in the WHL. 19th overall, the second of their 2 first-round draft picks, the Chicago Blackhawks got Oliver Moore, who was kind of advertised heading into this draft as the best skater in the class, and getting, potentially the best skater in the draft at 19th overall, I think is pretty good value. He's another guy that played for the U.S. National Development Team this past season, and he's somebody that I was really hoping the Red Wings were going to target with that 17th overall pick had they not already drafted a center 9th overall. 20th overall, the Seattle Kraken selected Czech winger Edward Sale, who played in the Czech League for the past couple of seasons. 21st overall, the Minnesota Wild selected centerman Charlie Stromel, who played for Wisconsin in the NCAA. With the 22nd overall pick, their second pick of the first round, the Philadelphia Flyers would select Oliver Bonk, 6'2", right shot defenseman, played for the London Knights in the Ontario Hockey League this past season. 23rd overall, the New York Rangers selected Gabriel Perreault, who I feel like in almost every mock draft I saw, everyone had him at least going in the top 15, so he definitely slid down the first round quite a bit. Perreault is another one of those guys coming out of the U.S. National Development Program, absolutely lit it up this past season, put up absurd numbers playing on a line with Will Smith and Ryan Leonard. Based on all the mock drafts and projections and things people have said about Gabriel Perreault, it sounds like the Rangers got really good value with him 23rd overall. 24th overall, with the second of their 2 first-round picks, the Nashville Predators would elect to go with defenseman Tanner Molendyk, who is a left-shot defenseman, 5'11", played for Saskatoon in the WHL this past season. With the 25th overall pick, the second of their 3 first-round picks in this year's first round, the St. Louis Blues selected Otto Stenberg, forward out of Sweden. 26th overall, San Jose selected Quentin Musty. Don't know a whole lot about this prospect, but I do know he has an awesome name. 27th overall, Colorado selected Callum Ritchie, centerman, who played for the Oshawa Generals of the WHL this past season. With the 28th overall pick, the Toronto Maple Leafs selected Easton Cohen out of the London Knights organization, and this was a pick viewed as quite a bit of a reach. A lot of insiders and analysts didn't even have Easton Cohen, ranked in the first 3 rounds. So the Maple Leafs obviously saw something in Cohen that a lot of other people didn't. We'll see how that plays out. With the 29th overall draft pick, the St. Louis Blues selected left shot defenseman Theo Lindstein out of Sweden. So St. Louis's prospect pool definitely bulked up a little bit after this year's first round, that's for sure. 30th overall, the Carolina Hurricanes selected undersized winger Bradley Nadeau out of the BCHL. 31st overall with the second of their 2 first-round draft picks. This is the pick that the Avalanche acquired as part of the Alex Newhook trade. The Avalanche, with this 31st overall pick, selected Mikhail Golyayev. Hopefully I'm saying that properly. Not sure if I am at all. He's a left shot defenseman who's played this past season in Russia. And finally, the Stanley Cup champion Vegas Golden Knights, with the 32nd overall pick, selected David Edstrom out of Sweden, a 6'3" center. So that was the first round of the 2023 NHL entry draft. Rounds 2 through 7 will take place tomorrow. Again, I apologize for kind of just running through most of the picks of the first round, not really having anything at all to say about some of the prospects. Again, I don't want to sit here and pretend that I know a ton about these players when I don't, and give you, some kind of false scouting report or anything like that. Just wanted to kind of give you guys a quick review of the first round, run through all the draft picks. As always, I want to know your guys' thoughts, so be sure to let me know how you feel your team did down below in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave it a like. That is the best way to show your support. And most importantly, if this was your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this all throughout the offseason, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you all soon.